Hey guys, welcome to the second video in my series of teaching alchemy. In the previous video, I talked about how to get into alchemy. In this video, I'll talk about the theory behind choosing which recipes to make to help you get into the mindset of making big silver gains. Even though getting into alchemy may not be very difficult, there are many pitfalls to avoid and opportunities to take advantage of. Not only have I completely smoothed my brain out reaching Guru 38 in alchemy, but I've also spent time studying and testing different theories and strategies. In this video, I'll talk about three main factors to consider when trying to find new recipes, including cost and profit, sustainability, and liquidity. I'll go over different tools and thought processes for each of these factors. Feel free to use the timestamps to skip to each part. Now that you know what's in this video, let's get into how to find your perfect recipe. There are three main factors in deciding which alchemy recipe is good: cost and profit, sustainability, and liquidity. In this section, we'll go over cost and profit and some tools that can be used to keep track of your silver. Cost and profit are very basic elements of manufacturing goods, but can be very informative of whether a recipe is good or not. In alchemy, costs, also known as expense, would include the different resources needed for each recipe and the alchemy station. The profit, or net income, would be the revenue from selling minus material expense and minus market tax if you are selling your alchemy product on the market. In the perfect world, you would want to make as high of a profit as possible and definitely not take a loss. Profit or loss can be tracked using many different programs, such as Excel or Google Sheets, but one brilliant program tailored towards BDO life skills is BDODAE. I personally use BDODAE to track most of my alchemy progress. Let's take a look at how it works. Let's use Tyrant's Blood as an example. As you can see, the cost of each ingredient is listed on the left. On the right is the value of each product you are making. It also includes the cost of the alchemy tool and tax. Some of the middle parts here are outdated and should be ignored. These numbers, the ingredients cost and the product value, would need to be manually inputted, but save when you reopen the page. At the bottom, it gives a nice overview of the profit you will get if you make Tyrant's Blood by buying each ingredient from the market and the silver you will get after tax. As you can see, it mirrors the revenue, expense, and net income I mentioned earlier. If you previously made one of these ingredients, such as pure powder reagent, and are wondering what the profit would be instead of selling it, you can check the tax button, which would show the cost of the ingredients minus the silver tax of selling it. This helps avoid the double taxation you would receive, as you aren't selling your pure powder reagents, losing the silver to tax, and buying them back at market value. This wouldn't matter if you calculated your profits beforehand without including tax. Other useful features are the Alchemy average, which starts at 2.5 and goes up with Alchemy Mastery. This would be the average amount created with each recipe. Some recipes have unique averages, but most follow the Alchemy average. Higher Alchemy averages would increase your profit, as instead of theoretically making 2.5 per craft, you can make upwards of 3 products with high enough mastery. In a link below, I will include a sheet from Incendar that shows the alchemy average per alchemy mastery. You can manually change your alchemy average based off of your alchemy mastery. Now let's move on to the second factor in choosing your perfect alchemy recipe: sustainability. Sustainability is the ease of continuously creating a specific product. For example, oil of fortitudes create a brilliant profit, but is difficult to buy fruits of nature from the market. Other examples could be products that require different types of traces, which may not be on the market or easy to gather. Should products with low sustainability be ignored? Of course not. You should keep a pre-order on the bottlenecked ingredients and make them when your pre-orders get filled. But keep in mind that you won't be able to continuously make these products. Keep in mind that oil of fortitudes is an extreme example. Sustainability is on a scale. This can be enumerated from 0 to 10 or 0 to 100, but it is essential to understand that some recipes include ingredients that are always on the market, while others, such as Grim Reaper's elixir, require traces of origin that may have a very low amount on the market and some black spots. If you are doing a ton of alchemy at a time and are making recipes with low sustainability, you may be forced to change recipes once in a while. Sustainability is harder to test, but try and look at each ingredient and how often they're on the market, and the quantity they're at. Over time, you will feel how available certain ingredients are. Be aware that this can change with time, events, or updates. Sustainability is simply one factor that can influence how good an alchemy recipe is. Keep this in mind when looking at different ones. The final factor we'll talk about in this video is liquidity. Liquidity is the rate at which you're able to sell or consume a certain product. For example, clown's blood may give you a good profit and the ingredients may be on the market, but is super hard to sell as it is min listed. This may be easier to see as there is so much clown's blood min listed, but many products may have lower liquidity without being min listed. Some example are essences, and more specifically, the essence of magic power. Even though I personally made some with a high profit margin, it took me nearly a month to get rid of them all. Liquidity is also on a scale. Just keep in mind that the less liquid an item is, the longer it will stay in your inventory and the longer it will take for you to get a return. This is also harder to test, but try and look at the central market and how many are bought in total and the last time it was bought. If you are unsure, be sure to make small batches and test each product yourself before committing large amounts of silver. And there it is, the 3 factors I would recommend you use in determining which alchemy recipes to make. Because everyone is different, there's no one perfect recipe for everyone. Every individual must find their own recipe. If you value profit over liquidity and sustainability, that is completely fine. Just keep in mind the trade-offs of committing more into profit, such as a lower rate of return with less liquidity, and more difficulty in procuring the necessary resources with less sustainability. Just keep each factor in mind and see what you value more.